Welcome to Women Wanting Women, where we explore topics that matter to women like us. We talk about being a woman, attracting women, and becoming more powerful women by developing more self-confidence and always reaching for the next level in our self-actualization. I'm your hostess, lesbian love coach Jordana Michelle. And if you're interested in finally finding the woman of your dreams, so you can be best friends who learn and grow together, share dreams together, have adventures together, and share passionate intimacy together, then also check out my website, womenwantingwomen.com, because it's packed with free resources that can help you. For example, there are free quizzes you can take, including one that will tell you what might be standing in your way of finding love, and another that will tell you what qualities the woman of your dreams will find most attractive about you when you meet her. There are free video tutorials you can watch that explain why women do the things they do and how you can navigate the frustrating world of lesbian dating with confidence, even if you're feeling lonely and desperate. There are free guides you can download to learn the secrets of how to avoid rejection, heal from heartbreak, and find epic lesbian love. And there's a free matchmaking survey you can fill out in case I already know the woman of your dreams. All of that is available now on womenwantingwomen.com. And if you want lesbian dating advice from me more often, follow me on Instagram at jordana.michelle. But before we go any further, I have a question. How do you overcome shyness and attract others to collaborate with you in this crazy world of competing for attention? And why is being weird so much more interesting? Well, in this episode, I talk about all that and more with queer entrepreneur Nadya Rousseau, co-founder of AlterNew Media, a mission-driven marketing company Nadya founded with her wife, Lauren Jones, who was the guest on my last episode of Women Wanting Women. You can learn more about Nadya on Instagram at Nadya Rousseau. But before you do, stick around for all the inspiration Nadya shares with us here. Nadya, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really stoked to have a conversation with you today.
I am excited to have this conversation too. So let's just jump right in. Will you just introduce yourself and share about who you are and the business you created?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Nadya Rousseau, and I'm the founder and CEO of AlterNew Media. We're a purpose-driven marketing and media company. We primarily work with mission-driven and disruptive companies. We work to help them achieve their business goals while also making a difference in the world through our various marketing services, through collaborating on media productions together, and soon through emerging technology. So no matter the modality, our mission of helping people really make big impact in their business, but also serving others is always top of mind.
I love it. And you have been doing media since you were little, to the Bulgarian chick in high school that opened your eyes, and
So
tell about who she was.
pre-high school, this is what's wild. I was 12 years old at a drama camp, and I had been involved in the drama theater world by this point, maybe for about a year. I was very, very shy as a kid, but I was also super creative. And when I was in my element and around people I trusted, I was always playing pretend and acting like different characters. So it only made sense for my parents to try and push me to pursue drama and theater. And so in this summer, I was going to this sleepaway camp at Mercersburg Academy, and I encountered a young lady, but she was a few years older than I was. Young lady, young girl, teenager. I was a preteen. She was a teenager. She was 15. I was 12. And she was just had this very confident, charismatic energy. And I think everyone noticed it, regardless of whether or not they were actually, attracted to her, had a crush on her or not. She just exuded confidence. And I was very intrigued by that. And I had always had, I was always looking towards girls and boys both, but I didn't really associate it with meaning anything other than just being observational. But she was a very open about being a lesbian. She's like, I'm a lesbian. I like girls. Like, don't tell me about boys. I don't care about boys. And I was like, okay. And then another girl in her little group, and she had this cute little group of queer girls, was like, well, I'm bi and I'm proud of that. So whatever, you can just like girls, but I like everything. I'm like, whoa, is that me? Is that what I am? I'm bi? Okay. So I think they noticed my curiosity and they kind of ushered me into their little group, and I got to talking and I was just like, well, maybe I'm bi too. And they were just, it was not an in-depth conversation. Like, let's vet her and make sure she's actually LGBT or, weird things that I feel like happen now in the community to some degree. It was just so accepting. And of course, I just idolized her for the whole week that I was at this camp. But that was really the impetus for being like, I'm bi. This is my identity.
You're so lucky that at only 12 years old, you had these cool older kids in your community that were showing you the way to be confidently comfortable in their sexuality in that way and sort of
It
paved
was
the way
so
for you.
fascinating. And it's such a small, like, rural area, too. I don't know where this girl came from. I mean, she would have been from outer space. Just, it was really special, lucky week that I had.
Yeah, and imagine how your life might have been different if you didn't have that person open that mental door for you all those
That's
years ago.
so true.
Yeah, go that chick.
Right? If
Um,
you're listening.
and you talked about how your parents enrolled you in drama and theater to help with your shyness. Would you say it helped? And were there any lessons you can share about how people struggling with shyness can overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, of course, when I got on stage and I was doing a performance or something like that, I a big aspect of the shyness, I think, went away because I was in character, but I was still like, oh my god, like I'm on stage, like I was still a bit anxious about it. And of course, over time, putting myself out there more and more in roles and acting, which is what I ended up doing professionally for a number of years. I didn't feel shy when I was in character, but I felt shy when I was just me. When I was just Nadia, I was still very introverted, got anxious, even all the way up until like around the time I decided to produce the show. And I was at Antioch and I was doing, say, like an open mic, or I was participating in a poetry reading because I also write poetry. I haven't for a while, but I have been published, and I was doing like reciting poetry. I was anxious. I had to get 3, 4 glasses of wine to go up there on the stage, and my heart was still pounding under my chest. I feel like at some point something clicked in me, particularly as I moved more into the entrepreneurial path, that I'm not showing up for myself. I don't need to worry about what people think about me. I'm showing up just like you to serve others. Like I am here to communicate with other people and to make an impact on them. And so it really takes the anxiety away from yourself because you're like, I'm not really here for me. Like if there's a hair out of place or there's a lint on my whatever, who cares? Because I'm here to talk to you. Like I just did an event this past last Friday, a women's business panel I put together with Lauren and a couple other collaborators, and I was the MC, I was the moderator, and that's something I never would have been able to do like 5 years ago, yes, but a little anxiety, but definitely not 10 years ago. I would have been so anxious. But now it's like I'm just trying to connect with people.
It makes a lot of sense because if we're worried about how others are going to judge us or think of us, that there's so much pressure we can put on ourselves from that. But if instead we're just wondering, can I get this person to learn this or
Right.
to take away this message or to make their life better in this or that way? Can I be of service to them in that way?
Exactly.
It's less about us and more just it's more motivational, kind of having a higher purpose for the putting ourselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
100%.
that's really great advice. When I talked to Lauren about the business that you guys built together, you started, she said, just from two people, and you got to the point where you had 20 employees at one point, or when there were 20 of you guys at one point, which is incredible, even if you have scaled back since then. But I think it's such an extraordinary story because you even it's not like you started out and just had all that success. You had to go through so much, including you even discuss a period of being kind of homeless together as
Yes.
you were making things work. So do you want to tell that story?
Yeah. I mean, when we were briefly homeless, this was a long, long time ago. This is when I was 18 years old and Lauren was 20. This was when we had been seeing each other long distance for a year or so, I guess about a year. And at this point, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to be with her all the time. And I also am ready to really pursue my career in modeling and acting. I didn't get what I wanted with respect to being able to go to NYU, where I was accepted. Like, I was told that you should be just going to the state school. So I was like, yeah, no, like, I'm not staying in Maryland. I'm over Maryland. So I accumulated heaping $600 from Dunkin' Donuts working there in the summer. And I was like, you know what? It's okay because I will get a job when I get out there. It was like, as long as we're together, anything is possible, was the feeling. Very coming of age story, really. And so I get out there and we are trying to make it work by all means. I'm sign twirling. I am trying to get a job as a hostess at a restaurant, which I did briefly, but there was some drama there, so it didn't work out. Lasted maybe a couple of weeks, and then I was working in a grocery store, and so we were both trying to look for things. And in the meantime, because we were staying in the Inland Empire, which is outside of LA, it's about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Los Angeles. So we would schlep by bus and train because we didn't have a car to go to go-sees at modeling agencies. I was also trying to get signed, but we can only get out there so much. So we're trying to stretch our money across. I mean, we made $600 last for like 3 months. We were staying in a relative's apartment. We didn't have to, well, we were told you have to pay rent, but we didn't have the money. So we were trying to find ways to like stretch it. And another relative came into the scene and was a bit manipulative, to say the least. And that's how we ended up being briefly homeless. Called my parents, who are still, of course, in Maryland. Hey, can you let us come back? And oh, yes. And so they got us train tickets. So we were cross country on a train back to Maryland, where we stayed there for 9 months, worked a lot, and accumulated quite a bit more savings, then moved back again to LA proper, this time in 2006. And so we stayed in LA all the way until 2020, until we moved here to Vegas, and we're still back and forth quite a bit. So in terms of, I think your question was like, what advice do you have to, I guess, to navigate coming from nothing and growing yourself? I mean, it's just, you have to cultivate resilience. But I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm very lucky to have someone by my side who makes navigating these challenges a lot easier. But, you have to feel, I guess, have some clarity around like what it is that you want to achieve, and make that vision as big as you can, even if it seems insanely out of reach for you where you are right now, because that's what will keep lighting a fire beneath you to keep going.
Right, because probably had someone come to you when you were working at Dunkin' Donuts and you hadn't even finished saving that $600 to get you back across the country to go be with the girl you wanted to be with, that person in that moment, would she even have believed it if I could have shown her a picture of the company that you two have built together and all the things that you've accomplished since then?
Definitely not. And probably would have been annoyed too, because I'm like, I'm going to be an actress. Like, what? What company? So,
I think that's actually a really important thing to flush out too, because, and we've discussed this, when we weren't recording before, but you're no less happy, right? You're just as happy as you would have been had you achieved the goal that you thought you wanted to do, right?
yeah,
Wouldn't you say?
I think more so because doing what I do, it offers me a lot more control. Being a double Capricorn, we like a little bit of control. It offers me a lot of creative control, a degree of economic control, and a lot of avenues for that creativity to unfold. And so, yeah, absolutely. No less happier, I would say.
But yet at the time, had someone said to you, you're actually not going to get to that dream that you have of being an actress or a model, would you have believed that happiness would still be possible given that? Or
Absolutely not. And of course, upon reflection, I mean, I was in quite a few different shows. I was in Ugly Betty, Entourage, Californication, almost every NCIS that exists. Got in SAG-AFTRA within a year, did quite a few things in the industry. So it's not as though, I got to LA and nothing happened, right? I mean, I didn't there were like with some, I remember there was a time where I was in an independent theater production with somebody, and I learned after being in this theater production with this person, 6 months later, she got a co-starring role in a very well-known TV series. And at the time, I was so mad. I think I actually threw a fit. I'm not even kidding. Like I threw a fit because I was like, I've been working so hard, and she comes from like an easy life. Like her parents have supported her. Like she has money. Like why is it so easy for these people? And I was like, like I just kind of like had an attack, you know? And this was in my mid 20s. But now when I hear about success from other people, I'm like, no, good for them. You know, we're all on our own journey. Like everyone's success is different, but it takes maturity. And I think being on the right path to be able to feel that for other people. And I don't think just being on that path with respect to the creative path of just acting was necessarily my right path, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, and I can understand how you can look back and say, okay, fine, maybe in the end I didn't make my fortune as a working actress, but you did get to have the lived experience of being in all these
Yes.
shows that are names most people would recognize, and so you did get to live that. But because you've found such a better way for yourself, you're now, you don't have to feel those feelings of jealousy at other people's success because
Right.
you've found your own success
Exactly.
by being on the right path for you.
100%.
Do you think that there was anything, I'm just curious, for people that are in really, really competitive fields where ultimately success is out of their hands, if they might be in a frustrating position like that, what are some things they can look at in themselves to see if there might be a more right path that can make them even happier, no less happy, but maybe helps them avoid some of that crippling competition that in a job like acting is inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what it is, and it often comes with maturity and experience, is understanding that success is subjective. Every person's definition of success is different, and you have to determine what would success look like for you. And that is not just professionally, that's also personally. Because for one person, yeah, like maybe like, okay, like I'm not successful until I'm an A-list actor, or I'm not successful until like I have gotten at least one co-starring thing. And also, success is ever evolving. So I'm going to say that success is evolving just as growth is. So if you can take a few steps back, let's say, you know, maybe you've been in your job or you've been going at it for a couple of years, try to set success milestones for yourself that are ambitious, that'll keep you driven, but are still reasonable and achievable. Because going from 0 to 1,000, that's where people get disappointed, as opposed to like, hey, you know, I didn't book the 10 castings within this quarter that I expected to. I booked 5. Does that mean I'm not successful? No, but maybe I need to tweak my headshots. Maybe I need to go find a new conservatory to study in, or look on YouTube and try to, you know, do different things to improve my craft. Maybe, you know, I just need to reevaluate, because if you set quarterly success milestones for yourself and allow yourself to reevaluate or pivot depending on how you did, then you can keep, you know, like, all right, maybe I didn't reach it this time. Maybe I'm going to keep the same milestone the next quarter because I really want to reach this. Or maybe you shift it and change it to something a little bit harder because you did achieve that.
What's so frustrating though about the acting world is that it's so uncorrelated to your talent. It's just so arbitrary. So whether or not you get booked is so much out of people's hands, whereas
Yes and
how
no.
much they show up and put themselves out there. Oh
I
no?
would say yes and no. You know, I think it really depends on what types of things you're going after. And quite frankly, now everyone, you know, people who want to be an actor, you guys are so freaking spoiled now because you have YouTube and you have Instagram and you have tools that were not available to you when I was starting out, or when people 10 years prior to when I was starting out were starting out, because we're in the age of the content creator. And think about someone like Issa Rae of Awkward Black Girl. She started Awkward Black Girl as a YouTube web series, and she grew it. She grew it herself, and she got picked up by a network. So this is the age where you need to really lean in on creating your own stuff. You have so much more control. In fact, YouTube has more viewership than a lot of the streams and some of the streaming platforms that people are, trying to get on. So much more control.
And that's true outside of acting as well, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's some advice you have then about creating content that people actually want to see in a world where there's so much content out there already to choose from and so much competition for attention?
There definitely is a lot going on out there, so much, and so much of it is not good or even very negative or toxic. That's for sure. So I think you want to be very clear on number one, what is your USP? What is your unique selling proposition? What is unique about what you want to produce? How is it different? Which it doesn't have to be so out of the box that it's never been done before, but what does need to happen, you need to have your own unique spin on it. So you want to think about what is your unique spin, and you need to be committed because you're not going, some people that I know who have massive YouTube channels, and I need to likewise lean in on producing even more content. Content creation can be time consuming,
Yes, it can.
which I know you know that for sure. But if it's something that you enjoy, then you're going to commit to it, even if it is starting out with one video a week. So you want to find your unique niche, be committed, get into a habit of content creation, and most importantly, be open to collaborating with others who are aligned with you. The more you can join forces with other creatives, the more opportunity you're going to have to expand your audience and to be seen by other groups of people that you wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to reach.
Do you have any advice for getting people to want to collaborate with you?
Yes. Well, number one, produce good content. Number two, make sure when you're approaching people that you're clear on what value you're trying to bring to that person. When you approach people like, hi, I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, it's all like a long spiel about yourself and ending with, do you want to collab? It almost is like it doesn't come off very well. If it's more like, hi, I came across your content in this video, XYZ, it really resonated with me. I produce content that has a similar thrust, but I'm actually doing this. What do you think about co-producing or co-creating a video about ABC? So first, start with recognizing something that they're doing that you like. Number two, try to connect it with something that you're doing. And then number three, suggest a specific way that you want to collaborate.
I think that's such good advice. I've had the experience of opening an email and someone writing 10 pages worth of stuff about themselves while I have a long list of clients waiting for me to get to the things that I owe them by the end of the day. There's
Right.
just it's not for lack of caring, but there's just not always time when I have no idea what that person even wants from me, that email can end up unread just because you don't end up getting to it. Whereas something concise, where someone's saying, hey, I saw this thing that you did, I do something that's similar in these ways, and here's what we can do
Yes.
together to move forward,
Right.
would be a really easy thing for me to say yes to. Whenever I've gotten easy things like that, that's an easy yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't offend me too if they attach their Calendly link for me to